Why do some funnels convert so well? You see, we all have the same feeling. We scroll on Instagram, see a page, and instantly think they must be on authority. And creators like Breascaled and TGR can dominate saturated niches, making people want to pay 10 times the standard price, while others with the exact same offer struggle to get the next sale. You see, these creators have spent millions trying to understand the viewer's brain and crack customer psychology. And today I'll reveal the exact AI acquisition playbook that even my clients and I use to build an offer at over $40,000 every single month, allowing us to leverage Instagram to position ourselves as an authority and scale without having to take calls 24/7. The AI acquisition engine is the exact funnel that me and my clients use to hit $40,000 every single month. So here's exactly how it works, right? First, I'm going to explain to you guys the exact organic top of funnel content strategy that you need to be posting to attract ICP views and trigger an emotion in the prospect's brain. At the same time, traffic ads is super important. So think of traffic ads as a way to just get eyeballs, and I'm going to explain exactly how you can do that. Super simple. Then we're going to talk about the authority pillars on exactly how you can gain authority in your niche. And I'm going to explain exactly how you can build the Instagram client magnet so you can basically close people in 5 minutes of them clicking on your profile. So after that, we're going to talk about the story sequencing. This is super important in this funnel because the story sequencing is what gets people to actually buy from you. They see all your clients' results through the story sequencing. They see everything that you do in the story sequencing. So that's super important, vital. A lot of people skip out on story sequencing, but I'm telling you, it's the way to go. Then the exact short form content strategy that you need to be doing so that you can only attract ICPs and nurture these people so that they eventually buy, right? Same thing with YouTube. I'm going to cover a VSL YouTube funnel that actually ties into this funnel that I'm about to show you, the AI acquisition engine, really well. And then obviously retargeting ads. You can't have a good funnel without retargeting ads because that's just like it just gets more revenue. So then the exact DM setting process that you need to use to convert. And lastly, we're going to talk about the AI conversion panel, which is a fancy word for just a dashboard that gives you data-driven decisions fully automatically using AI. First part of the process, organic and paid traffic. This is the backbone of the entire funnel that I'm going to show you. So the 3-pillar framework. So in order to make good organic content, you need to provide authority, accurate first impressions, and strong emotions. So most people, they skip out on the strong emotions and then they wonder why they don't get any views. The strong emotion is what gets people to view. Authority is what gets people to actually buy from you, and the first impressions is what gets people to like you, right? So that's exactly what I'm going to teach you right now. So think about it. We're emotional creatures, and it's crucial that you understand how to trigger these 3 pillars inside your content, right? Let's start with emotion. This is super important. First of all, you need to come up with a list of emotions you want to trigger inside your content, which is your brand. You want to trigger funny, maybe you want to trigger something like rage bait. I don't know. Depends what you're going for. Like, it really depends on your brand. But funny and rage bait work the best because they will get the most amount of views. If you can balance the other 2 really well and trigger these 2 emotions, then that's really good. Because if you can get a really good first impression while still generating a bit of rage bait and a bit of funny, then that means that you're going to get so many views while people still like you, so there's not going to be any bad comments or anything like that, and you're still going to maintain authority because you know what you're talking about. So here's exactly what I mean by that. So now we need to talk about the market optimization, which is the backbone of making things funny and building good first impression. So first you need to come up with a list of keywords. Now, why do you want a list of keywords? Most people, they get a highly edited reel. They would talk about value. It's like talking head, but that does not work anymore. It does not work anymore. You need to be making funny, entertaining videos. Think about it. When you go on Instagram, when is the last time you actually go to learn? You pretty much never go on Instagram to learn. For that, you've got YouTube. Instagram is to be entertaining. So entertaining. So how do we make entertainment? Through a list of keywords. So you find a funny video that has performed well in other niches, right? Then what you do is you make that funny by adding a list of keywords. For example, let's say you're a fitness coach and you want to show people how to actually do a proper bench press. Instead of you sitting there and showing the technique, you would show a funny clip of somebody doing a horrible bench press or a barbell falling or whatever it is, so that it triggers that funny emotion And then you say a hook. So the hook is to at the same time trigger the first impressions. So the first impressions, and then you show your expertise in the proper form. And I would also add, I recommend adding rehooks and all that kind of stuff to make it engaging and funny all out. So that's the market optimization. It's super simple. All it is that you need to make somebody think that you know what you're talking about, that you're a likable guy, and that you got personality, you're a funny guy, or whatever emotion you want to trigger in that video. That's what you need people to think of you of, right? So the KPI for this is minimum 3 of these keywords mentioned in the first 5 seconds and 2 of these keywords in the title, right? So that's just an example right there. And now we're going to move on to paid traffic. Now, paid traffic is super important in this funnel. Reason being is because paid traffic is trackable, whereas organic content isn't. You can only track views, but you can't track how many people click. There's a lot more things you can track with paid traffic, like ROAS and all that kind of stuff, right? So here's the exact framework for paid traffic. So let's say we've got a video right here. So here's exactly how that would work. We've got a few videos over here, right? Now we want to film 5 ads a week. Now the reason we want to make 5 ads a week, because with 5 ads a week, we can perform and make split tests on exactly what's performed. So what we want to do is we want to run profile visit ads. So these are the ads we've recorded. What we want to do is we want to actually funnel these down into the Instagram profile, right? Which I'm going to explain exactly how we can do that over here, which is the Instagram client magnet. Now, this is super important. When they click, the only thing we want from them is a follow, right? When they follow you, they trust you. They become a lead. You don't want them to watch a video. You don't want them to book a call. You just want them to follow, because when they follow, they become a lead. Then they can get nurtured through everything else. Once they follow, they're in your circle and they can't escape until they buy. That's how easy it is, right? And then we're going to run retargeting ads to them and all that. So here's exactly how we track everything. So we've built a Facebook ads crawler to pretty much analyze every single one of your competitors' ads, give it an outlier score, and it pretty much tells you exactly what ads to film next. Super valuable. Then we've got the short form generation, so you can see exactly what's performing well inside your Instagram and your YouTube, same as for competitors. And lastly, this is the best one yet. We can see an entire numbers dashboard on everything that is happening in your business. This tracks conversations, it tracks everything. All of the ads, the ad spend, the followers gained, the followers, qualified followers, convos, cost per everything. It tracks everything 100% fully automatically, and nobody else in the market is actually offering this except me and my company, right? So that's the exact system that you need to be using. You need to be creating audience growth. You need to actually implement paid traffic on organic content. So now we're going to go into how we actually get people from a top of funnel into a middle of funnel, which is the most important part, the middle of the funnel, because that's where they get nurtured, and eventually that's what triggers them to buy. But first of all, if you want us to implement this exact system completely done for you, with all of these AI agents completely fully built for you, custom to your business, just click the first link in the description. And if you want to have a chat about this, you can just send me a DM on Instagram and I'll reply as quick as possible. And yeah, we can have a chat there. The Instagram ads plus profile and numbers breakdown. The Instagram client magnet is the most important part in this funnel. Reason being, if you've got a shit profile, you're going to get shit leads and shit clients. That's exactly how it works, right? So here's exactly how we're going to optimize the profile so that we can attract clients from people that just click the ad and eventually become a follower. I'm going to explain why we want them to become a follower and not a lead or booking afterwards. But right now, this is the most important part. So name, this is back to basics pretty much. You need to have your full name inside the actual name section, and it would be a bonus if you can be verified. If you can be verified, it just adds more credibility, and you need an authority picture. So what I mean by an authority profile picture is that it needs to be an in the moment picture. So what do I mean by in the moment, right? So what I mean by in the moment is that it's a picture that doesn't seem staged. It's not a professional picture. It just seems like a picture that somebody took while you were just living your life. It needs to be a very high quality image. So it needs to be high quality, right? So high quality. It also needs to be, like I said, like a movement picture, not staged. So not staged. It needs to show a clear picture of your face also. That's super important. Then your bio, super simple. There's nothing much to it. You just need to explain what you do and who you help and all this kind of stuff. So first, what I've got personally is co-founder of business name, which is NodeStacks, and then I help somebody. So for example, in my case, I've got co-founder. You can also have I help in as the first line. And then after this initial line, what you're going to have is an achievement. For example, generated over 3 billion views for clients, or something like generated $3 million in client revenue, whatever it is. And then you need to have a DM me keyword for desired outcome. That's super important because that will get you a consistent flow of inbound leads from people that click your profile. And lastly, a VSL link. Now this is the bread and butter of this funnel. You need to have a VSL. Now, not like a traditional VSL where it's like an entire VSL funnel where you have to send them through opt-in forms and all this kind of stuff. No, it's a YouTube VSL. I'm going to show you exactly how you can do that, right? In the YouTube section. Now, highlights. This is super important. This is where the money is made. This is where people get nurtured and eventually reply to your DMs and eventually book a call and pay in full or even pay in the DMs, right? So super important you have a start here. Now, this is where you connect with people. Think about it. Somebody's clicking on your profile. They've never seen you before, and you need to show a bit of your story, a bit of context. Then we need lifestyle. So this is where you actually build authority and where you actually show a bit more about your life. Now, this is where you actually, quote unquote, aura farm. I'm going to show you exactly what you can do in terms of aura farming, right? But then you need to have the rest of your story sequence are just going to be clients. So clients 1, clients 2, clients 3. And that will show that you've got a bunch of credibility in the space and you're not just some newbie that doesn't know what they're doing. Then, obviously, you're going to have the posts, right? Posts is also super important. These first 3 pictures have to be the best 3 pictures and sequences and carousels that you've ever gotten. These have to actually generate so much curiosity when people look at them that they just genuinely wonder why they're not working with you. These need to be super high authority pictures. Now, keep in mind, these pictures cannot be staged. So they cannot be staged, like I said in the profile picture, right? None of the pictures can be staged because then it actually lowers your authority. And also, you don't want to be posting pictures of Lamborghinis and Ferraris because that doesn't work anymore. People are just going to see you as like a course seller that's a scammer. You don't want to be doing that. You just need to post your authentic life, while at the same time, authority maxing. What I mean by authority maxing is just posting as much authority images as you can. Now, what I mean by authority images are just pictures of you in nice places, living your normal life, while still conveying your authority and positioning and messaging through the pictures. So quick recap. So far we've touched on the 3-pillar framework, which is the exact framework that you need to actually get good content. The market optimization, which is how you actually get funny videos. AI systems, which basically track everything and is like a cheat code nowadays. Like literally nobody is offering these AI systems. It's actually so ridiculous what you can just track with that. Then we've got paid traffic. The paid traffic is vital, trackable, and you can get so much data and knowledge through the paid traffic. And lastly, organic content. Organic content is the backbone of everything. Then we've just covered so far the exact Instagram client magnet system, where basically it's the story highlights and the 3-pillar framework. So now we're going to cover retargeting ads. Retargeting ads are, if not the most important part in the paid ads section, because retargeting ads are super important, right? Let me explain that. So think about it. Let's say you see an ad on Instagram, right? On IG, right? What will you actually do next? You're going to scroll past. You're just going to scroll. There's no way ever that you're going to actually click on the CTA the first time you see the ad. So what you need to do is you need to actually then do retargeting. So retargeting, and then you need to loop back into the Instagram. So it's basically like a cycle where you just force them to click. You're not even asking for like a big thing that they have to do. They don't have to submit anything. They just have to click follow. Because when they click follow, they become a lead. they become messaged by the automation, they get everything done. So it's super important that you get them to follow, and the way we do that is through retargeting, because only the Instagram profile visit ads by themselves will not work. They may get you a few follows and potentially even a 5x ROAS, like some of my clients had with just top of funnel Instagram profile visit ads. You also need retargeting, because that's exactly how you're going to get way more followers. So here's exactly how that works. So you've got the Instagram profile, where, like I just explained, has to be super optimized. If not, there's no point of running traffic to it. You need to have your daily story sequences, because story sequences show that your account is active. I'm going to explain that a bit more. Highlights show that you're a real person, your client results. The YouTube VSL, so I'm going to go more in depth in the YouTube section, but that's super important. And then your YouTube videos, which basically solve pain points and also remove objections from the sales calls. So pretty much with this system, if you execute it perfectly, you will have sales calls with no objections, and they're literally just going to ask you to send payment link. Some of my clients have had that, and it's flipping crazy. And then all of this loops back to retargeting ads and eventually DMs. So it's all super important, and it all ties back in. So now what we need to do is we need to create a reciprocity bias. Now this is something we're going to cover in the YouTube content that we'll cover later, but pretty much we just need to create a reciprocity bias. That's all you need to know for now. But pretty much we need to create a loop where we bring out guilt in the prospect's mind, and we keep giving back, and they keep feeling guilt for not giving back. That's why we need to provide value. We're going to explain that afterwards. So for retargeting ads, this is like the final tipping point before they follow. So it needs to be something super dopaminergic and well structured. For example, this is an ad that my client Geronimo ran. It's his client testimonial, George. Made a 15K per month, sick testimonial. And it needs to be exceptionally high quality. It needs to trigger emotional and a relatable story that tied to the client testimonial. Then you need to provide actionable steps, which is literally just to follow. You're not asking for much, you're just asking them to click a button. Now this should align with the exact marketing message you spread across every platform into one video, with one real person with a real story. So for example, if you say on YouTube, generate 100K a month, you say on Instagram, get 50K a month, and then you say on your stories, you say 10K a month, that is not consistent branding, right? So you need to actually have consistent branding. Choose 10K, 100K, or 50K, or whatever you're trying to get to, or whatever you're actually selling. You need to have consistent branding, okay? So here's something that makes it a bit more believable, and some of the numbers that some of my clients and myself have generated using this exact strategy. So a quick numbers breakdown. First of all, we've got the paid traffic. So think of it like this. If you were to spend $50 on a Instagram profile visit ad, on average, $50 would get you 10 to 20K views, right? Or 10 to 20K impressions. Out of those views, you would get between a 5.5 to 9% click-through rate. And let's say out of those clicks, you only get 60% follow. Taking into account that we also run retargeting ads out of that. So they're not seeing the ad once, they're seeing the ads multiple times. 60% follow rate would get you an $8 cost per conversation. So with an $8 cost per conversation, we can get a $14 cost per qualified pitch, which means a qualified conversation that is pitch worthy. Eventually, with that $14 cost per qualified pitch, we'll get a $74 cost per qualified call, assuming that only the people that book is like 1 in 5, right? Or something like that. So this is including DM closes, obviously, and that's a $74 cost per qualified call. And eventually, let's say out of those $74 cost per call, we close 50%, which is pretty good, because think about it, they're already nurtured, they know exactly what you're selling, they just want the payment link, right? So at that, it'd pretty much be $140 cost per acquisition, and if you're selling something at 5 to 10K in ticket price, that's an insane ROAS, and that's just saying that that's conservative average results that somebody can get, right? So for a quick recap, we're running traffic ads, organic top of funnel content to the Instagram client magnet, which has to be optimized to retargeting ads, and eventually we end up in the DMs, which is where we want to be, where we close, we appointment set, and eventually everything will be tracked with the numbers. So that's exactly how everything works. And yeah, nobody's giving out this for free. Make sure to follow me on Instagram because, like, genuinely. Now we're going to go over to the stories setup. So the stories setup, this is super important because this is what actually gets people to buy. So Instagram stories are super important. You need to be posting daily story sequences. So as I explained before, if your profile is optimized and you're not posting stories, people think that, yeah, everything looks right, but there's no story up, so it looks inactive, right? But even if you're not verified and you've not got an optimized bio, but with a story up, you look way more active. So you need to be posting story sequences every single day, right? It's super important. So believe me, prospects choose the one on the right every single time. Even if the story is just a picture of you or even a picture of your cat, it looks much easier to approach, and it actually seems like a real person as well as active, right? You want people to see that you're an active account, that you've got an active personal brand. So how do you actually go about positioning stories day to day? So there's two types. We've got value with action with a CTA, and we've got aura farming without action. So I know that sounds a bit gimmicky, but trust me, it's all going to make sense. So aura farming. Let's say that if you're a fitness coach, this is a prime example of the kind of things that you should be posting on your stories and highlights. This is a great example of aura farming. It's nice, healthy food that actually shows across all of your branding. It looks good, and it's not something flashy like, oh, here's my Ferrari, buy my course. No, you show your proper gym workouts. That's aura farming right there. Tennis, desired outcome to be fit. You need to show all of this. Not show your Ferraris, not show your rented cars. You need to actually show your day-to-day life and show people that it's actually possible to get to their dream destination, right? So this is where the money is really made. So here's the flow behind the story sequences, right? So the first most important part is the hook, which is the statement. So I've got an example right here, which is like, my client Geronimo scaled to $40,000 per month without following the traditional rules. And then it's an arrow leading to the next story sequence, right? Now this is the pain point. So he doesn't have 12-hour work days, hundreds of clients, and a 20-person team. Instead, he spends most of his time, so that's a rehook right there. You need to be adding constant rehooks into your story sequences, and this is pain point. You need to dive deep into your ICP's pain point. You need to really understand how your ICP feels, what pain points they have, what desires they have, and all this kind of stuff. Then desired outcome. So in my case, that would be traveling, boxing, driving, and networking. That is what I want to do. And also I've done some market research, and my ICP is what they want to do. So you need to really understand what your ICP wants in their life, what they need, and you need to add that inside this slide. And then we need to add the method. So in this example, we achieved this by using a drag and drop AI system to track organic content, meta ads, appointment setting, and sales calls. And this is just to create curiosity, right? So these AI system screenshots that I've actually built and that we've got in our offer, this is to trigger curiosity because they see this and they think, wow, that must be so good, right? That's just what they think. So these AI systems pretty much give you data-driven decisions, and that's what I'm trying to convey in this sequence. Next, we've got the authority and reinforcement. So this is basically reinforcing what we said earlier. So backend by a proven AI acquisition funnel. So here's just a little diagram of the AI acquisition funnel, and that only requires him to record 2 hours of content a week, allowing him to book over 27 qualified calls weekly, whilst even closing in the DMs. So that's just even more desired solution, desired outcome, right? People want to be able to close in the DMs, have sales calls that are qualified, and not somebody from India that doesn't have $100 to invest. Does that make sense? So next, I'm adding a CTA. So if you want the full drag and drop playbook on how you can replicate these results within your own coaching offer in under 90 days, reply a playbook and I'll send it over. That's just CTA. Now this gets us DMs. This is the beauty of it, because with story sequences we can get DMs, and that's exactly where we close. And the DM sequence we're going to explain a bit later, but it's super vital. It's the most important part in this entire funnel. Without DMs, nothing would work. So now, this is a pretty untapped method, which is close friends, which gets you a 5 times higher reach. So this only works if you've got like 5,000 followers. It would actually work really well when you're at 5,000 followers, but when you're under that, it will still give you a boost. So here's how to get 5 times more qualified reach. So first, you need to spend at least 30 minutes a day adding people to your close friends list. If you didn't know, Instagram doesn't have a limit on how many close friends you can have. All it means is that only people that are engaged will have the benefit. So you don't get notified when you're added as a close friend. So that process guarantees you select all your benefits from close friends. Now they must have DM'd you back and forth, and they must follow you. So I'll show the guide for that in a later video, but pretty much you just need to understand that you need to add people to your close friends list, and you need to be posting stories. So what do I mean by that? You need to be posting a close friend stories and a normal stories. Reason being is because with this green circle, you get pretty much moved to the front of the list, right? Now, the reason we want to be at the front of the list is because people see our story as first, right? And even if they're not a close friend, they still see the story as normal, because even if they're not a close friend, say they didn't engage with you, they didn't DM back and forth with you, or they didn't follow, that still means that because of the engagement that you got with a close friends right here, because you're at the first of the list, you'll get a higher retention, right? Which also improves the normal stories, which means you'll be pushed to the front of the list even if you're not in the close friends. That's kind of how it works. All it really means is that you need to add people to close friends, and once you've added them to close friends, the boost that you get from the retention, so the retention, right, that will boost into the normal stories, right? So yeah, that's exactly how it works. It's super simple, and it allows you to get you way more reach. So quick recap, all it is add close friends, upload daily story sequences. You need to be posting aura farming story sequences and value story sequences, and that's exactly how that works. Next, this is what you've all been waiting for, the exact YouTube and authority breakdown video. We're going to teach you exactly how you can pretty much have a dialed in middle of the funnel. The exact funnel that I'm going to be teaching you is called the VSL funnel. Now, don't be fooled, right? This isn't like a normal VSL funnel. It's a YouTube VSL funnel. Now, what do I actually mean by that? Think about it. We've got the Instagram profile, which is the Instagram client magnet system that I taught you. Then we've got the daily story sequences, we've got the highlights, we've got the YouTube VSL and the YouTube videos, and the reciprocity cycle. Then we've got retargeting ads and the DMs. The DMs is where the conversion happens. The story sequences and the DMs is where the conversion actually happens and where you cash in for cold hard cash, right? So here's exactly how that works. So first we're going to talk about passive manipulation. So what does this actually mean? So in short words, you need to make a whiteboard on however you demonstrate info, so like a Google Doc or whatever it is, and you don't gatekeep anything. Everything that you know, everything that's inside your offer, you need to provide inside your YouTube videos. Now, this is one of the easiest places, apart from testimonials, to make that push, because you sell the source, right? What you want to do is you want to create a reciprocity bias. It's super simple how this works, right? Imagine that there's a circle where you've got you giving back, so you giving everything away for free, and you've got guilt. And yeah, so here's how it works. You give them everything, right? Everything that they can ever want without asking for anything in return. Now, what does this create? Guilt, because that's how reciprocity works. They feel bad for not giving you anything back, so they want to eventually give you something back. Now, we want to create this so that in the DMs, we can get them on a call, because they think they owe you them showing up to the call. That's how that reciprocity bias works. And also, a lot of people still think that this isn't worth it to post everything for free, and they should still gatekeep a bit. But bro, if you do not show everything for free, somebody else will, and they'll just buy your competitor's program or whatever it is, right? So it's super important that you post everything and all the information. Next, we've got middle of the funnel videos, which is super important. You need to have your ICP dialed. If your ICP is not dialed and you do not understand their pain points, their desires, their dream outcomes, their dream life, even what time they wake up, then there's no way that you need to be even in this business. You need to really understand your ICP. So if you don't know what your ICP is, click off this video, watch one of my videos, and I'm going to explain exactly how to do that. So first, you need to actually know what their questions are. So you need to really create a list. Do market research harder. Watch one of my videos, I explain exactly how to do that. So how do you do more market research? Sales calls, questions, your own experience, which is easiest, ask people in the niche. All this kind of stuff is super important. So here's exactly how this funnel works, right? We've got a VSL right here. This is the YouTube VSL. Now, we've also got more YouTube videos outside of it. So YouTube, more YouTube, and all this kind of stuff. And we've also got the Instagram. So we've got the IG, we've got all of this, right? Now we want to link everything to this VSL right here. Reason we want to do that is because this is the main driver in conversion. This is what people are going to see, and this is what people are going to know exactly what you do, how it works, your client results, and everything they need to know before they hop on a call with you. VSL is super important. Reason being is just because of that. Now, what do these YouTube videos actually do? They link back to this VSL, but also they remove objections from the sales calls. So once you deeply understand your market and your ICP, you need to create these middle of funnel and top of funnel YouTube videos to remove those objections and remove those pain points. So say, for example, they watch a VSL, right? They click the link in your bio on Instagram, they watched it and they're like, oh, it's too expensive, right? So it's too expensive. Then they say, it's doesn't work, right? Doesn't work. And they say whatever else they have to say. Each one of these videos that you have to remove one of these objections. And every single video they watch, they're going to come closer to actually buying from you. Now, what does this actually mean, right? On YouTube, you want to prioritize retention over everything. Doesn't matter if 100 people click on your website or on your booking page from one of these YouTube videos, right? It doesn't work, because then you won't get pushed. YouTube will not push you to more people. So what you want to do is you want to create your normal YouTube video up here, and every single one of these that you create, you want to link it to the VSL. So the way you do that is in the description, just here. So all of the content above, apart from the current VSL, should lead to the VSL, with a CTA being a lead magnet or simply to watch a story. So where we can start the qualification process, right? So here's exactly how that works. So you need to say, work with me, Calendly. Then you've got to follow me on Instagram. That's what you need to put in the VSL. Now, in a normal video, you just have your Instagram and the actual VSL link, right, to that YouTube video. To link them to the VSL so that they're already nurtured, know exactly what to do. And when they've already got those objections, each one of these videos is trained to remove those specific objections. So there's literally no way they don't end up buying. That's exactly how that works. So for example, this video I posted, this is a raw talking head video I posted, which is why your personal brand sucks at getting clients. Now, what the objection I actually tackle in this video is, why can't I get clients from my personal brand? Why am I stuck? That's what I wanted to pretty much try and solve. So say you're making 10K per month, but you're just not scaling with your personal brand. That's what I'm trying to solve, right? So it's people scaling, so info coaching, that entire space. So other people within the space I want to try target common personal branding issues in the DMs, and whether you want to demonstrate the information in whiteboards or just you talking depends on your preferences and also your market. So you can display the information however you want. Just make sure that it's actually valuable. Day in the life videos. So day in the life videos is a top of funnel type of video. This should not be the VSL. This should just be a way to get views, right? If you post a VSL, day in the life as a Miami course seller, right? Whatever it is, day in the life in Miami. You need to actually clip farm this for short form. That's actually a really good point. You need to actually make clips of this day in the life to actually post to short form. You need to build authority, of show your lifestyle, and build relatability. Now this just gets views. This type of video do not provide any kind of value at all, but it just gets views. And this needs to link to the VSL, and you obviously need to farm short form content clips in it, and you need to link to your YouTube channel. So for example, a person called Su Wei did this. Su Wei Go. So his video is forced to move back to Malaysia as a 7-figure entrepreneur. So he clip farmed the short form, so he made a bunch of clips for his Instagram. He built a bunch of authority and relatability, and he links that to his main VSL, and he made a bunch of clips from this. As you can see, he got this clip, he linked to his YouTube channel and to the VSL, which is exactly what you want to be doing. And lastly, testimonial content. This is super important. this is the bottom of the funnel. So the bottom of the funnel of the actual YouTube strategy, right? So testimonial content is super important. It's that final push to get somebody to buy, right? So how to authority max. So for example, 80% of authority is produced with the testimonial content. Your authority literally goes like this when you create this type of videos, because somebody else is basically saying how good you are, not the other way around. You saying how good I am, right? So for example, this strategy got me X to 10K a month with yada yada yada, right? Okay, you need to create one of these styles of videos to basically show a client result, and it's just going to get you so much authority. And there you do not want to link to the VSL. That just needs to go straight to booking link, because the people that are going to watch this are not going to be new. They should already know you, and they should already be deep into your funnel. That's exactly how that works. So yeah, so the question framework, these are all the questions you need to be asking. It's pretty self-explanatory. You just need to ask the prospect questions like what do you do, who do you help, and what makes your approach unique, right? Just ask them more about the business that they're running, and then before working together, then ask what was it like before we started working together, so they can kind of show their life before. Then an emotional state before, so how are you feeling before your growth at that point? So pretty much digging deep into the pain point. That's super important. Then the decision trigger, which is why you overcame that and why you decided to work with me. Then yeah, that's kind of how it works. You basically need to go from the story, so the story from nobody to somebody, right? So nobody, so what it was like beforehand, somebody can relate to that potentially, and what it was like working with you. So that's what you pretty much need to do that. So for a quick recap, you need to have day in the life content pretty much linked to the VSL, middle of funnel content linked to the VSL, the reciprocity bias, and the authority pillars. And once you've got that, the testimonial content is just as that final push to get somebody to book or to buy. So DM framework and breakdown. This is the most important point in the funnel, because from now we've just been trying to get people to follow and to get nurtured. Now this all leads to the DMs. The DMs is the most important part. So once you've got a proper DM setting flow, then you pretty much cracked it all. You know how to get proper, good, consistent clients fully automatically from a few videos. You can literally post a video and get 2 pay-in fulls in the DMs. That's how crazy it is. So I'm going to show you the exact DM setting process. So here's exactly how it works. Somebody follows, right? Then what we do is we have an automation actually send the first DM. So with this DM, we pretty much guarantee that the person that follows gets a DM, right? Now I'm going to give you some source here. The only way you can do this right now is through ManyChat, because ManyChat is the official partner with Meta. Just create an account, it's free, and start DMing people that follow you. Once they follow you, you need to build rapport. So you need to confirm that you're likable, right? So you need to build and you need to confirm that you're likable, right? So once you confirm that you're likable, you need to actually qualify them and financially qualify them and make sure that they're a good spot to invest. Eventually, you need to dive deep into a pain point. So pain point and pitch the call. So then it would be pitch. So here's exactly how that would look like. So once they follow, they get an initial DM saying whatever it is, an opening message, and then you need to confirm that you're likable. Once you show them that you're a likable person and you build rapport and you ask them a question and they really see that you're a good guy, you can move to the qualification, right? Now, obviously, in all of this, you need to maintain authority. If they say something and you say, yeah, totally agree, that's completely fine, or whatever it is, it doesn't work. You need to build authority. You need to make sure you're in the authoritative position. So in the qualification part, you need to qualify them with whatever you need to qualify them. Let's say your offer is super B2C. That means that you don't need much qualification. They just need financial qualification. Whereas if you host an exclusive offer that requires people making 6 figures a month minimum, and then they need like more applications, then you need to really qualify them. So ask whatever questions you need. Then this is where the important parts comes in. Pain point. Most people, they say something like, yeah, but what's the main bottleneck? And then they say, Okay, bro, that's completely understandable, or that's completely fine. That's wrong. You say that's not good, because it's not good. You do not need to agree with them in the pain points, because it's something that they're stuck at. And at the same time, you need to do what's called a vertical question. When you ask them what's the main bottleneck in their business and why they're stuck there, you need to ask, okay, well, what have you tried to solve that? So then they say something like, well, I've tried cold DMs, I've tried all this kind of stuff, ads, cold DMs. I'm not really getting many clients. Okay. Well, what have you tried to solve the ads side of things? Well, I tried investing to this guy, but he was pretty bad. Oh, okay. Okay, makes sense. I mean, what else have you tried to solve that problem? Oh, well, I've tried this, this, this. And you just create this loop, infinite loop in a pain cycle. Obviously, don't go crazy with this, but you have to create pain. And the only way we can actually get them on a call is if the pain is big enough. Eventually, you pitch them, you get them on a call, and they book in. At the same time, super important, if they're a new follower, you don't want to pitch them straight away because they're not nurtured. So you've got pretty much two options. You can either send them a VSL video or a DM specific video. So a VSL video is the long 20-30 minute VSL video that you filmed on YouTube, where you pretty much send everybody to get nurtured, or you send a DM specific video. So let's say you dive into their pain points right here, and you see that their main bottleneck is followers or qualified followers, right? What you would do then is you would send them a DM specific video just to solve that exact problem, right? So once you solve that problem, you will seem a lot more likable. You'd build so much more authority because you solved that problem for completely free, and eventually you'll just get them on the call. So to recap, you're pretty much getting traffic into DMs through lead magnets, and you're getting DM setting frameworks and data collection, and you need to hire people. So this is something that you need to offload as soon as possible to a DM setter, because there's just too many DMs. If you're at a point where you're at over 5,000 followers, there's just too many DMs for you to reply to. So yeah, this is the exact AI client acquisition system that me and my clients use to obviously get over to $40,000 every single month. And if you want me to personally implement this for you with every single one of these AI systems that I showed you in this video, just make sure to click the first link in the description and book a call.